Welcome back, everybody, to This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry. I have a very special guest with me this week. It's my buddy, Herbert Lynn, who is running for city council at large. Wow, my audio is very loud. I got to turn that down a little bit. I'm using a device that I haven't used in a little while, so I apologize if that kind of blew your ears out at first. That's fine. Everything's fine. But he's running for city council at large here in Lexington, Kentucky. Hi, Herbert. How are you?
Hey, Perry. I'm doing all right. How about you, friend?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm hanging in there. We have not done this segment on the show in a while, but we back in the day had a segment of the show that we would do to kick things off every now and then, known as Sips and Snacks. And on social media this week, there was a collaborative post between two Kentucky favorites, Ale 8 and Mingy Beef Jerky. And I had initially wanted to do the one that would tie the most into what this podcast was with their pairing, but I was only able to find what they call the Kentucky Classic. Okay, so to kick things off, we are going to pair the classic Ale 8 with classic Mingy Beef Jerky.
Nice.
Okay. This is not necessarily a bourbon thing, but...
I mean, it's definitely a Kentucky thing. Ale 8 and beef jerky.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. I don't think we've not really ever talked that much about Mingy on the show. I've talked plenty about Ale 8, though.
I have some hot takes on Mingy.
Do you now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I will let you go ahead and offer some of your hot takes.
So,
on
Mingy is a Kentucky staple, and I appreciate them for that. But I find their beef jerky it's kind of tough. It's thin. I like a little more meat to my jerky.
That's fair.
You know, I don't know if you saw coming in, but I've got a dehydrator sitting on the kitchen on the counter over there, and I make my own beef jerky every once in a while.
Oh, okay.
So it's that big square box next to the fridge. We're actually recording in my home today, folks.
We are. I meant to say that up front, but I wanted to kind of get right into it. But here's my thing. It is salty.
Mm-hmm.
It is tough.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something about it where it hits the spot.
It does.
That being said, though, I do prefer the bourbon flavor.
I don't think I've had the bourbon flavor yet.
You need to try the bourbon
Now,
flavor.
the spicing on Mingy is great, and I do love the spice mix.
Yeah.
They're on point with their spices. Just a personal preference there.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any particular way that they want you to experience this pairing, but I figured because there is an inherently Kentucky component to this podcast episode that we're doing, figured we may as well experience two of Kentucky's finest. Not that we're not going to be drinking plenty of
Kentucky's finest.
Yeah. During this. I just thought it would be fun to introduce this into the mix as well. So classic Ale 8, been around since 1926. So this is their 100th anniversary this year.
Right on. Congratulations, Ale 8.
Crazy.
A century.
Yeah.
And for those of you all not from Kentucky, Ale 8 is regularly referred to as carbonated crick water, and it is delicious.
It's so good.
I had a buddy in college, actually, who had a liver issue, could not drink alcohol, could not digest alcohol. And so every time I came back from home, I'd bring him like 2 sixers of Ale 8, and he just loved it. So if y'all can get your hands on it, for those of you outside the state, definitely make a point to do so. It's easy, it's crisp, it's refreshing, it's Ale 8.
And I see the vision. I'm not going to lie. The pairing between the two.
Oh, yeah. It's solid. You got your salty, your sweet, your spicy, your tangy. It's good pairing.
I'm not upset with this. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what the distribution is like. I know that Ale 8 has started to branch outside of Kentucky. Initially, again, for anybody who doesn't know, it was only available in Kentucky. But now I think that it's starting to branch even just like slightly outside of the Kentucky borders. But that being said, though, come to Kentucky, get it from the source.
Oh, yeah. And they're starting to experiment with a few new flavors yet. I haven't gotten to try too many. I think they did a cream soda It was good, but it wasn't for me. It was too sweet. I don't have much of a sweet tooth.
So the 4 pairings were the Kentucky Classic, which is what we're doing right now. They had the Cherry Bomb, which is the Mingy Sweet and Hot and Ale 8 Cherry.
Ooh.
The Southern Kick, which is the Mingy Black Pepper and Ale 8 Blackberry.
Ooh.
And then the Bluegrass Twist, which is the bourbon flavored jerky and the Ale 8 Orange Cream.
So it's the orange cream that was a little too sweet.
So that was what I was trying to get was the Bluegrass Twist, but I couldn't find the bourbon flavored jerky. But I'm glad that this worked out in our favor, serendipitously, because I don't know if you would have enjoyed the.
I mean, like,
orange
don't get
cream
me
as
wrong.
much.
I like it. You know, I'll quaff one, but I have to be in the right mood for it. You know, like this week would have actually been a good week. I usually take my coffee black, but this week I've just been loading it up with cream and sugar. I think it's because we're out of the good coffee at work, and I need something to mask the crappy flavor coffee.
Right.
But yeah, this week would have been a good one. But this is a solid pairing, man. Like if this, you know where this would be perfect. If you're out like on the lake, if you like to go out on the lake, go fishing, go out boating, like this would be a solid combo for a day at the lake. That's what it would. And I grew up on Harrington Lake out there, so that's kind of where my mind goes.
Yeah. Which, again, this is going to be just a very like Kentucky centered. This might be the most like, if you don't know a lot about Kentucky, you're going to learn some things about Kentucky on this episode of the podcast, I think. Which, oh my goodness gracious, I've been doing this podcast for 420 something episodes, and
you didn't silence your
my
phone? Actually, I don't think I have either. Hang on just a second.
You're a candidate
Here I am
too.
throwing stones in glass houses over here.
You're an actual candidate too, running for a seat in Lexington, and you're the one between the two of us who probably needs to silence their phone more than anybody.
True.
But that being said, though, we'll get into the race here in a little bit. But I have ideas of where I want this podcast episode to go.
Killer.
That being said, though, I have to ask you, what have you been drinking recently?
Well, I am usually I've been actually drinking a lot more wine lately than usual. Clos du Bois Chardonnay is not super duper sweet and it's very affordable. And then Chateau Saint Michel, as far as a rosé is concerned. And between those two, and I'll keep a spare bottle of gin for gin and sodas. In the evenings, a little bit of lime, solid. I like gin and tonics, but dude, tonic water has so much sugar in it. Like,
it does.
Yeah, it's good, but like, so gin and soda with a little bit of lime or like a squirt of like flavoring from Kroger or that, the Mio flavoring or whatever you want to put in there.
Yeah.
That does it,
I'm discovering the incongruity very quickly between like a couple pieces of Mingy and one bottle of Ale 8.
What do you mean?
You're going through a bottle of Ale 8 much quicker than you can get through a bag of Mingy.
Oh, yeah, because it's so salty. You got to
Like you're trying to wash down a couple pieces of Mingy way quicker with one bottle of Ale 8 than the amount of Mingy that you have. And that's.
And for the record, my beef jerky, when I make it, is not super duper salty. It is tangy and fiery.
Well, first time we met, you talked about, I'm being very rude.
Go for it.
Well, the way I'm talking while chewing. But the first time we met, you talked about your love for extreme spice.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Coming from you spent a year or two in Thailand, right?
2 years in Indonesia. So I was a 2-time Fulbright grantee with their English teaching assistant program. And so I went over there, and a common condiment they serve with almost every meal is called sambal, and it's literally just onions, shrimp paste, and like chili peppers, and so they'll ask you how many chilies do you want, and like 2 is considered mild, and 4 is considered hot. And, they'll serve it to you in a dollop that's about the size of a like a small cup, a little ramekin there, and like you just eat it with everything. My aunt and uncle came and visited me, and my aunt turns out did not like spicy food, so she but she got everything without the sambal, right? But even then, it was too spicy for her, just because everything in that part of the world a lot of times is spicy.
True.
But so I have kind of continued that tradition. I'm pretty sure I've like scorched off all my taste buds. I'm probably going to develop stomach ulcers, but that's a problem for 60-year-old Herbert. Not. Oh, I'm 36 now. Almost middle-aged. How does that feel, Perry?
I'm trying not to think about it. I'm 32. I'll be 33 this summer. I'm really, really trying not to think about my age, but also at the same time, I just don't. I don't care.
That's a healthy way to look at it, actually.
And I don't mean that in the crass way that it sounds either. Like, I'm getting to a point in my life. I was thinking about this morning. I'm getting to a point in my life where the anxieties that I have are a lot more real than they were 10 to 12 years ago.
You got kids now.
I have kids now. But those anxieties make me feel a lot more alive than I did 10 to 12 years ago. And with that in mind, I don't think about death the way that I did 10 to 12 years ago, or have that impending feeling of doom, right? And not to get like super existential, 12 minutes into the podcast or anything. But, I also have been heavily distracted by, or invested in, rather, everything that has been going on internationally and everything that we have done as a country internationally over the past month and a half. And, there was a very real anxiety this past week that we were going to make an irreparable mistake.
Yeah.
And like, that is also something that I probably wouldn't have been as aware of 10 to 12 years ago. So there are the pros and cons of getting older, where, I'm enjoying life more than I ever have. And yes, I have those supreme anxieties of raising children. But the world at large is so much different than it was when my anxieties were a lot smaller than they were now. And so feeling that I'm raising kids in a world that is completely unrecognizable from when it was when I was,
when we were kids,
getting married. Well, even when I was a kid, for sure. Is just crazy, but I don't feel that weight of aging, I guess. So I try to put that off as much as possible.
Right on.
So, but it was a long-winded answer to.
No, it's just good. And that just makes me think about, like, getting politically involved, with the DSA. Before that, I was very much a homebody. I like to come home after work, take care of a few things around the house and spend the evening playing video games, which was nice. It was peaceful, but, with the latest, administration, the Trump administration that's come in, I just was like, I was finally at a breaking point. It's like, if I don't get involved or if I don't do something, I'm going to lose my frickin' mind.
Yeah.
So, and kind of contrasting that, your anxieties, feel more, maybe that's the way to put it. Your anxieties feel more contextualized nowadays.
Yeah.
Getting politically involved definitely has contextualized a lot of my anxieties as far as size and scale. Because it used to be, I would come home and I'd fret about the political realities of America by myself. But now I'm, doing things for the community, and the political anxieties about America are still there. And on one hand, they feel bigger, but they also feel smaller because, being involved, it's like, oh, okay, I'm in it now. I'm trying to make a difference. But at the same time, it's like these immediate concerns that I have are a lot, more important to me, those anxieties.
I need to ask you a very important question that is very prescient to to everything that's going on right now. have you publicly yet denounced Hassan Piker?
Yes. Let me take that opportunity here now to denounce Hassan Piker for being more handsome than me. Asshole. No, but seriously, okay. Like, I don't know anyone who's involved in online culture and who watches streamers. You know, these guys get on camera for anywhere from 3 to, what does Hassan do, like 10 hours a day?
Now it's about 8 hours a day.
And just runs his mouth and runs his mouth and runs his mouth. And like, if a camera were pointed at me for 3 to 8 hours a day, I'd say some stupid things too. I don't know if I would say what Hassan has said publicly, but like, I mean,
I think that there are better ways to say the things that he has said.
Oh yeah, but he's a streamer. He's got to get those views. He's got to get those clicks. He's got to be a little bit controversial.
But I'm not going to defend Hassan because I don't think that there's any reason to defend online personalities. But I do think that there are better ways to, you know, I don't even think that he was saying the things that he said in order to rack up views. I think that he just is unrefined at times in the way that he expresses what he truly does feel.
Yeah. Especially because a lot of those clips were from a couple of years ago before he was big.
Yeah. But now, and here's the thing. I am so tired of hearing about him from mainstream media. Like, I think that I would much rather hear about candidates who are running in some of these local elections that will, you know, essentially set the stage for broader political change in this country. And I don't think that Hassan needs to be a kitchen table issue
I don't
for
think he
anybody.
needs to be getting the attention he's getting on CNN. I mean, did CNN pay this much attention when, you know, when Republican student groups, their, you know, group chats get exposed and they're just full of slurs and bigotry? I mean, are they, you know, fretting that much about, are they covering it breathlessly, the Epstein files, like they are Hassan Piker, and delving into them in detail? No, they're not. Yeah. I mean, at times they do, but like that, it's still the Epstein files are a bigger story than Hassan Piker. Yeah. You know, the Iraq War is a bigger story. I'm sorry,
the Iran War.
The Iranian War. It's not even a war; it's a military conflict. Yeah, I mean, those are bigger stories than what some streamer is doing, getting attention for candidates.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to, you know, just poke the bear a little bit because it's been a fun few weeks you know. Anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into our first couple of pours here because it is a Bourbon Podcast, and I feel that we should, as I said, indulge in some of Kentucky's finest. And the way that I have this set up is that we have 3 sets of dual pours, I guess is the best way to put that. But we're starting out in Laredo, Kentucky.
Ooh.
With Maker's Mark. And it'll be slightly hard to replicate for anybody at home, but you still can largely do this if you want to drink along with us. But I have my ambassador's batch of Maker's Mark, which was...
It's got your name on it.
It does. It was blended with a barrel that had my name on it. That was put into the barrel in like 2016. Sorry, also the Ale 8 is making us both a little gassy. I'm not gonna lie. And then comparing it to Maker's Cask Strength. This was the 2501 batch, 7 years 2 months old, at 112.6 proof. So I will let you go ahead and pour for yourself as you see fit the proper amount for each, especially since we have quite a few that we're going to get through.
Who's signed this bottle?
Rob Samuels. He is the third generation family owner of Maker's Mark. So his grandfather, Mark Samuels Sr., right? Yeah. Was the one who founded and began operating Maker's Mark back in the 50s or 60s.
You want me to give you a pour just like these?
No, I'll pour for myself. You have gone quite hefty, my friend.
That's about a shot each, right?
Yeah. So you're looking at if you go the same way all the way through, you're looking at 6 ounces of whiskey here before the end of the
yeah, okay. I'll give myself half pours next time.
You have done the Perry pour here, which is an accidental heavy pour.
Well, got to start off right.
Yeah.
Right? So,
there we go.
I think the first time I tasted bourbon was, and this is, I was a kid of the 90s, so this probably isn't a common thing anymore. Old Family Remedy or old, old-fashioned remedy. I think the first time I tasted bourbon was mixed with half of a capful of honey because I was having some sinus issues. My mom was like, okay, here you go, honey. Just, quaff this real quick. And I was like, oh, my God.
Having just met your mom, too, right before we started recording, that seems about right.
Yeah. She's cool. She's the best mom.
Yeah, she's great. All right, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers indeed.
Oh, that's smooth.
It's so nice. Maker's Mark is just such a great way in general to begin your bourbon drinking day, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've now set the precedent for you for the rest of your day. Because you did say that you had an event later where you're going to have to be schmoozing some folks, and if you're going to be drinking anything, I feel like it might.
I can take a nap.
Later.
I can have a little snack and drink some water. I'll be all right.
There you go. So let's go through a little bit about your campaign too. I'm going to give you the as they say, the Zoran method. Your 5 most important campaign points.
Okay.
Right? So in your city council at large campaign, what are the top 5 most important campaign points that you want people to know?
Well, I guess at the top of the list is housing prices, from rent to buying a new home. There are a lot of ways to address that, and I think it starts with a little bit of rezoning, so we can turn some of these commercial areas that have buildings that are unoccupied into. They can be refurbished and turned into apartments to, a little bit of mixed-use zoning, so we can have some commercial and residential stuff a little bit more mixed. But I think ultimately, we've been trying to address here in Lexington the housing crisis for the last decade. When I moved here to Lexington, it was touted as one of those cities that's affordable to live in. And just over I moved here in 2013, but then since then, just in the last decade, it has gone from affordable, good investment to holy crap, that is a hockey stick shaped graph when it comes to housing prices. It is just climbing and climbing and climbing. So I think, and we've been trying to address it and with, a lot of private investment, but I think at some point the city is going to have to realize that it needs to take a more active role in providing low income housing, whether that's Section 8 or just subsidized housing, and build some social housing. I guess second thing would be also in that same vein, our energy costs are astronomical. LGE is going to the state board every year and asking for the maximum rate increases that they can get. Not a lot we can do about that, but we can definitely fight. I met with someone who works with the Environmental Commission to discuss my policy just this past week, and what he and I discussed is the ways I wanted to increase the availability of solar energy here in Lexington. We've got a lot of agricultural land that currently only 1% maximum of Fayette County's agricultural land that is not used for conservation. Only 1% of it can be used for solar energy, max. And that's across the entire county. So that means, and we are rapidly approaching that limit. And if we're going to actually address our our energy needs, and solar energy, you can feed that back into the grid. LG and EKU does not allow that. But I think at some point that is going to lead to a conversation about, well, if LG EKU does not allow us to feed solar energy back into the grid, whether for some sort of credit or a rebate, then I think it's time to talk about municipalizing our local energy infrastructure.
Right.
I mean, our taxes paid for it. We maintain it. And
we also get a tax credit for clean energy to in Kentucky at least.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. Continue.
You're absolutely right. It's good for consumers. It's good for local government, and I think eventually the people who actually use the infrastructure and who have to have power lines in their front yards or across their property. Ultimately, I think we ought to own and control our own infrastructure. Let's see here. I'm a little bit long-winded. That's not a problem,
okay.
Is it? You're going to cut out all the crap you don't need, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
kidding.
it might be. I think that this is what everybody needs to hear for sure.
And then my third thing is we need to address the homelessness crisis here in Lexington. I think that goes along with addressing housing prices. The folks who work with the unhoused right now in Lexington do amazing work. With the resources they have, which with funding being the way it is, with the Trump admin pulling funding and then reinstating funding, it's just been a nightmare for these folks. And they didn't have a lot to begin with in the first place. So we definitely need to increase our funding for our unhoused services. We need to support our intervention teams who work under the fire department, the community response teams who do amazing, nationally recognized amazing work. I would love to see those programs expanded. And as far as I'm aware, the city council is on board with that. And I just want to be one more voice in supporting those community response teams. But ultimately, I want to see some funding set aside to build a full-time, homeless shelter. Because right now, a lot of our shelters, they are not open during the day, so people have to walk the streets, whether they're hustling or just have nothing to do. And it also would allow folks to have a permanent address they could put for, job applications or for registering to vote. Because right now, that's really difficult if you are unhoused.
Yeah, and we do have full-time homeless shelters in other parts of the state. Namely, right now there is one, I believe, in Nicholasville that does operate in that capacity. However, I don't think that in a city the size of Lexington, it is anywhere reasonable for us to not have a homeless shelter that operates full-time. I mean, it is absurd.
And it's not an easy ask either, because a lot of our unhoused population, they have, trauma, sometimes mental health. Sometimes they're just down on their and those the folks who are down on their luck, living out of their cars. I think those people are the ones we need to definitely get off the streets, because some of these people have kids and living in their cars with them, and it's let's give these people a little 1-bedroom apartment where they can actually lay their heads, keep clean clothes, their kids that have a stable place to call home. But a lot of the unhoused also have additional issues, and we definitely need to be cognizant of that. So it's not just a structure and a place to live. There are also, you've got to partner with your local medical community, local psychotherapy community to, make sure these people are well taken care of and have the support they need while they, put their lives back together. In some cases,
public perception is another hurdle around that too. I know that there are a lot of people who believe that because people are unhoused, because people are homeless, it's their fault.
Right.
They've fallen on those hard times because they can't ostensibly pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, and that's just categorically untrue for a large swath of that population. When in reality, the system has failed them, or there have been other extenuating circumstances that have led to their homelessness. And, whether it's reallocating funds that allow them to get a leg up in certain circumstances, or, finding, these opportunities for them to become employed so that they can work their way up one way or another. There's something that needs to be done brick by brick to get them there.
And building on that point, that if nationally speaking, statistically, about 50% of unhoused people actually do have jobs already, actually are working. They're the working poor. And in general, and I think a lot of Americans haven't been they're probably aware of this, but it hasn't been formulated, put into words for them. Homelessness is not a choice people make. It is a policy choice. It is a policy failing. Like, we could choose to end homelessness just like Denmark has by building homes and, allowing people to live in homes and just building them and, having them subsidized so people can just stay there.
Well, just like we could choose to end the hunger crisis as well. I mean, for $37 a month, it would be a nominal increase.
I haven't heard much. Wasn't Elon Musk going to solve the hunger crisis? Wasn't he going to have we heard any updates from Elon Musk?
I think he's too worried about people being upset with his haircut right now.
Oh my God, that yes haircut. Oh my God, it's bad. Oh Lord, like I used to cut my own hair when I was broke as dirt.
It looked a lot like that when I had to do the same thing. It was bad, but I didn't go around saying it's ugly and people are mad about it, and that's the point.
Bro, look at my dirty ass, nasty ass haircut. Aren't you mad? No, I'm just like, you have $1 bajillion. Shouldn't you have better taste than that? He's just a classic, he's a classless boob.
He doesn't have better taste than that. Anyway. Point number 4.
Okay, point number 4 is ICE. So I will definitely, if elected, be a loud voice opposing ICE invading our community. Now, as for right now, I'm not trying to rock any boats because ICE has largely left Lexington alone, and the feeling from the immigrant community, who should be listened to in these sorts of arenas, is, excuse me, yep, that ale 8 there. What the immigrant community wants us to do is to stay quiet, not make any waves, and hopefully get left alone. Now, I'm not sure that is going to pan out. I think it may be an eventuality because Lexington, we have a Democratic governor who is, the rumor is they're considering a presidential run, and just like Trump harassed Tim Walz, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump wants to harass Bashir in the future, and Lexington and Louisville are the 2 blue dots in the middle of a Red Sea. And so I wouldn't be surprised if, ICE invading Lexington is an eventuality. And, there are, I don't, I'm not going to, name names or like single anyone out, but I think there are city councilors who would prefer to keep their heads down if that happens and just, bolster their reelection chances, not make waves still. But that's not who I am, and that's not what I believe. I think so. I actually have a cousin who lives up in Minneapolis. She lives right downtown, right near the VA where Alex Preddy works. Yeah. And I mean, she's been in the thick of it. And I want to be there on the city council to help get the word out about, okay, here's, your community. She said the neighborhoods have been the biggest force in combating ICE, people working together at the grassroots level. And having someone like me or some of the other like-minded city councilors who can help get the word out about those community defense forces, can help coordinate, help get people pointed in the right direction, can do things like, for example, up in Minneapolis, they have barred ICE from using any sort of municipal property for staging or for, temporarily housing themselves while they're in town. So, it's moves like that, those small little things that, that experience that I want to bring to the table and fight ICE with every fiber of my being. Because, I mean, they're terrorizing people. Yeah. I mean, it's a terrorist force, basically.
Lexington has such an incredible immigrant population as well. First or second generation. Mm-hmm. And I've live in a neighborhood that is predominantly mixed backgrounds, and I've talked with people, I've seen people who have been incredibly fearful of what their future looks like, not just in Lexington, but in the country.
Which is bonkers, because I don't know about your family, but when my grandparents' parents came over from Germany, they didn't have any of that fear. They weren't worried about the feds coming after them. They set up a farm in the middle of nowhere in Iowa, and they did their thing. I mean, they weren't worried about. And now we've got we've got a great immigrant community here, like you said. I mean, between UK drawing in all sorts of people from all over the world who look at Lexington and be like, boy, this is a really cool city. I think I might want to put down roots here too. We've got immigrant resettlement programs that settle people here. And I mean, number one, I like food. I'm an adventurous eater. And just if nothing else, like putting all of the moral and ethical things aside, boy, we have some good food here in Lexington, largely because of our immigrant community. But getting back to the actual meat of the issue, like Mingy beef jerky's meat, getting back to the meat of the issue, yes, it's the fact that the feds are allowed to invade communities and terrorize immigrant populations is a moral failing on behalf of our country, and the Democrats and the Republican Party.
Well, I think that something that might be lost in this conversation is people feeling like this is one-sided against one particular party in this country, because there has been a lot of raging, or not raging, because that's definitely not the right word, but complaining about the party in power, the right, when even though they are supposed to be the opposition party, even though they're not really the left, but the Democrats, they are immeasurably weak. And at this point, center-right, they are, if not falling further and further towards the right in much of their policy. And I want people to understand that in this conversation, there is a lot that will become aware of, or will become clear is also critical of the controlled opposition party. To for those who don't understand politics of the DSA and our politics in general, because I'm no fan of either party in this country.
Neither am I. I mean, I'm a registered Democrat. I've been a Democrat all my life.
Right.
And it's incredibly disappointing to see the party that, I literally grew up when my mom couldn't find a sitter attending the Democratic Women's Club of Kentucky meetings with my mom. And that's kind of where I started with my political thinking. Also, I was a little nerd and thought Robert's Rules of Order were just so cool. Kid who read the dictionary over here, like not making that up. A nerd. So,
Mom, when can I get my full copy of the encyclopedia, please?
Oh, we had Funkin' Wagnalls, baby. Okay, so sorry, lost my train of thought. But I'm terribly disappointed in the Democratic Party. You bring up the point controlled opposition, and I used to, just a few years ago, I was like, no, I don't think they're controlled opposition. I think they're trying their best. But when you really look at the facts on the ground, they have millions of dollars to pay to consultants who could be telling them to do better things. They have millions of dollars to pay PR folks. They have millions of dollars to pay, legislative aides and policy experts. The Democratic Party's talking points have always been kind of weak. The Republicans, and to be fair, the right in this country, I was talking about this with Jack the other day.
Friend of the show.
Yeah. I'll plug him later. But the Democratic Party's talking points have just always been incredibly weak. But the right has had almost a century, from the Red Scares in the early 20th century. The left was, beaten, forced underground. Our ideas and talking points were, barred from public discourse. Our thought leaders were arrested and harassed and jailed. And so the right has had a century to get their shit together. But the Democrats could be doing a lot more. They're an opposition party. I understand, they don't control the House, they don't control the Senate, they don't control the executive, but the talking points we see from them should be fiery. I mean, this is an easy win for the Democrats. It's literally a domestic military force terrorizing and invading our communities, and the Democratic Party could be saying a lot more.
Yeah.
I just don't think they've been strong enough about it.
No, and I don't think that they care to either, because they're
they know which side their bread is buttered on.
Exactly. So
And point number 5.
Point number 5 is defending the LGBTQIA plus community.
Beautiful.
Which Lexington has a great record on that front because we're a very progressive city in a lot of ways, especially socially. Lexington was, for those of you all who don't know, was considered one of the most LGBTQIA friendly cities even in the 20th century. It's just everyone from rural Kentucky in the South, they just kind of all flocked here, and we've got a great local gay bar scene. It is happening. Can't recommend the bar complex enough. They have drag shows every weekend, Fridays and Saturdays. If you're looking for a fun date or just want to catch a show, can't recommend the bar complex enough. Plus, they've got a dance floor upstairs, and yours truly likes to shake his ass after a few drinks. But the local government actually has a lot they can do as far as protecting the LGBTQIA plus community. Everything from just funding, support, spaces, to having non-discrimination ordinances on the books. And Lexington has done a great job. There are ways they could improve, sure, but those are all kind of fussy around the edges stuff in some ways. But we do live in an era where people's rights are being rolled back. And I firmly believe that if you as a legislator or any sort of politician with any sort of power, if you're willing to compromise on the rights of the gay and the trans and everyone else, that community, if you're willing to compromise on their rights, you're probably going to be willing to compromise when push comes to shove on other people's rights.
Right.
And I mean, that's the forefront of, I was about to say the forefront of civil rights right now, but that's a kind of silly way to put it because there are a lot of civil rights that a lot of other people are still fighting to get in, not de juris, not under the law, but in reality, the way, I mean, we passed civil rights legislation back in the 1960s and 70s for, the African American, for the black community. But that's on the books. But I mean, they still get harassed and, killed by the police at an,
alarmingly high rate.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I want to be one of the voices on the city council who is willing to stand firm on our civil rights.
Love it. So, wrapping up the first duality of pours here.
Speaking of which, the this cask strength, phenomenal.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's a sweeter bourbon, or a sweeter kind of taste.
Yeah,
sweet
no, it
for
is.
Me.
But
it's not cloying. It's still got a little bit of spice, a little bit of kind of that woody taste to it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's solid.
So what you have is basically the foundational version of Maker's Mark at 90 proof. And then as intense as it will go on the regular market, which is the cast strength version, the highest proof.
It's really, this is the kind of thing you would pull out after for a good nightcap if you're out with a couple of friends.
Exactly.
You have some folks come over and you're just chilling. Yeah, this would be the perfect drink for that.
That's how I feel about it too. I'm a big fan of Maker's cast strength, and this batch has grown on me a lot. Started out not being as big a fan of it, but I just think that Maker's is one of the most foundational bourbons on the market, and really, really.
I mean, there's a reason why it's an iconic brand.
Yeah,
not just because of the wax pour over the bottles, but because it is such an accessible bourbon.
Yeah.
If you're not a bourbon drinker, and someone says, well, you want some bourbon? What do you got? Maker's Mark? Yeah, that is the drink for you. Also, for those of you all who are non-Kentuckians, speaking of pairings, Ale 8 and bourbon is a Kentucky classic.
100%.
Oh, it is the best. It's, you got a little bit of drink, and then you got a little bit of refreshment, and it is just great.
So at Keeneland, which is currently in session. I don't know.
Doing their thing.
They're running horses out at the racetrack for one of the 2 times that they do it in the year. They have a drink called the Keeneland Breeze. Do you not know about the Keeneland Breeze?
I'm not aware of this.
Okay. So it is bourbon, ginger ale, orange liqueur, and I think that's it.
Is the ginger ale Ale 8?
No.
Blasphemy.
I know. I like to do it with typically a higher proof bourbon, maybe like Turkey 101 or Maker's Cast Strength, Ale 8, orange liqueur, and then a dash of bitters.
Ooh, yeah, that Yeah, that would hit the spot.
It absolutely rips. I mean, it is a killer drink. I've talked about it on the podcast before. If you've never heard it, then go and check it out because really nice stuff.
Mm-hmm. Really, bitters would definitely add that herbiness to it. That would really balance it all out. Yeah, that sounds delicious.
So we're gonna do another low proof, high proof side by side here. We're going to go with what would be more on like the working man's side.
Benchmark.
We're going to go with Benchmark single barrel and Benchmark full proof. So the single barrel is 95 and the full proof is 125. I'll pour up the full proof one here. Both of these are $25 or under.
Yeah, I mean, this is when I just want a bourbon to have in the evenings, just like on hand, like an after drink work. It's perfect. Now, what I heard about Benchmark, and tell me if this is true or not, is that it gets its name because it is distilled by the same people who make Buffalo Trace, and it is the bourbon that does not make the quote unquote benchmark, and so it's bottled under the Benchmark brand. Is that true, or is that a rumor? Or is that a trade secret you're not allowed to divulge?
I don't know. I mean, there are no trade secrets that I can keep under wraps because, I mean, aside from maybe a couple because I have friends in the industry. Mm-hmm. But as far as like Benchmark goes, it is made by Buffalo Trace now, but back in the day, it was made by the Seagram's distillery when it was originally founded, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that when it was first created, they were using the name Benchmark as like, this is our benchmark for quality.
I gotcha.
I think that is what they were trying to go for back then, but I could also be wrong.
Fair enough.
It's it's hard to say.
If you like Buffalo Trace, though, it's got a lot of the same. It's very similar flavor wise.
It does, yeah. And we've had a lot of internal discord within the Timbip friends and family that the single barrel.
Tea, brother.
Well, the single barrel right now is one of the best affordable pours on the market. We've done this side by side on the show. It's Bourbon Night has done a video on it as well, comparing this not this specific bottle because all single barrels tend to have a fluctuation in their quality and whatnot. But in comparing this to the modern day Blanton's, which has dropped in age. It started out around 8 or 9 years old when it was first released in the 80s.
Blanton's is, as far as I'm aware, like one of those premier kind of...
It is supposed to be. But again, like, at 88 years old when it was first released, still 93 proof to this day. But it has jumped up to around $90. Yeah. And dropped down to about 4 years old. Huh. So we've done these side by sides, and the Benchmark single barrel is just as good, if not better, for around $20.
So which would you recommend I taste first?
So let's start with the single barrel here, just because it's lower proof, and I think it's
smells
nice
tasty.
To kind of
cheers.
Yeah, we didn't cheers on the first pour. That was
blasphemy. And for those of you all watching, and for those of you all who are watching on video, these little glasses, I am horribly single, and I took a woman out on a date, and I had no idea where to take her. And I saw, when I was on the way to pick her up, I saw a sign that said estate sale, and I was like, hell yeah, let's go traipse through some dead person's house. They'll love it. And they did. And I got these little cute little antique cups.
Horribly single is such a funny way to put that.
I'm 36. What else would you use to describe it? Yeah, horribly single.
You're running a campaign. You've got work. There are things you got to be. You got to give yourself credit where credit's due, I think.
Oh, that's tasty. But for those of you all who are happily married or even unhappily married, just FYI, the dating scene in your mid-30s is a nightmare.
So I've heard. I do not envy anybody who is on quote-unquote the apps.
I am on the apps.
I'm so sorry.
You should not envy me.
I don't envy you at all. I do not want to be on the apps.
I'm
happily married, but
here's good. I'm glad because I included the unhappily married there, and I was like,
happily married.
I'm teasing.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like for an example, I matched this woman on Tinder, and I was like, let's go out. Are you more of a cocktail woman or a beer woman? And she was like, more cocktails, and I was like, great. I know this nice little place downtown. It's kind of fancy. And so, like, let's go out for some fancy cocktails. We'll just have one or two. We're not going to break the bank. And so I said fancy cocktails, and she shows up, gets into my car, wearing like some cargo pants and like a baggy, stretched out, old ass, worn out T-shirt, and I'm like, change of plans. We're not going to the fancy cocktail. I'm wearing a collared shirt and nice pants and nice shoes, and they show up in sneakers and
So instead, you're going to Country Boy.
We ended up going to Sidebar.
Yeah.
Hey, I love no shade to Sidebar. Sidebar accepts all folks, including those who are poorly dressed.
Yeah. Can we talk for a second, too, about how sad it is that we are losing 21C and the Lockbox downtown?
It is sad. I mean, that was another great date spot, fancy dinner, art exhibits. And, like, it is the reason why it is such a shame it's closing. It's because it's one of the few, like, art galleries that is accessible. You can walk in there any time of the day and get an eyeful of some good art. Yeah. Like the rest of the galleries downtown, like they all close at 5.
Yeah.
Like, so if you want to go out on a date or if you have a job, you can't get some good art. What the hell?
No. But I mean, being a BFA graduate, I don't have the opportunity to go and enjoy art galleries the way that I used to. Like when I was in college getting my graphic design degree, it was like we have to go to art galleries all the time because it was part of our grade,
curriculum,
and now we just, I mean, having kids, both of us, it was like we just don't have time.
Well, and as I want to do, I'm going to turn this back to politics.
Well, I was going to ask, when you talk about, culturalism and the availability of, more fine culture, because we are seeing a downturn in that. I mean, there should be more of a public funding.
Well, and the problem is I mean, we used to have a top marginal tax rate of 92%. And that money went towards funding went towards funding local infrastructure, local art, local artists, and. Sure, galleries don't need to be open till midnight or anything, but it'd be nice if they were open till like 7,
9.
So yes,
something,
it's not 7 or 8. Like something reasonable, so that working people can go get some art, and it
and well funded, so that the people who are working there to keep them open are also paid well to
and the artists who make the art. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, like my stepdad right now is this Sunday they are firing up.
Sorry, the way you said stepdad right now was like your mom goes through a rotation of stepdads. It was really funny.
It's funny, just to brag on my mom. My biological father was 8 years older than she is, and my stepfather is 8 years younger than she is.
That's funny.
She is just like, she's got good taste in men.
She's swinging for the fences here.
Killing it, yeah. My stepdad's a great guy, but like this weekend, he actually spent the last year restoring a kiln that was on a farm.
Wow.
I forgot the name of the kiln, but it is this massive, gigantic, like structure, and it's like 40 yards long. I mean, it is huge, and it's all wood fired. It's so it's like real like Kentucky folk art.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've done this in partnership with the Community Arts Center down in Danville.
Mm-hmm.
But like in my ideal world, like something like that would be funded. It's like, oh, you are restoring a piece of Kentucky's heritage. Here's some money. Like, make it as good as it possibly can. Invite school children for field trips. Like, do demonstrations. Like, that should be something we should be funding.
I mean, it is not.
I'm not unsurprised that is something, because I have lived in Lexington for largely my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
There were 4.5 years where I was in Richmond for school. I grew up in the Fayette County public school system,
mm-hmm.
and it was always a battle whether or not we were going to have funding for our arts
Same in
programs.
Boyle County, yeah.
And the older I got too, and just being even more highly aware of whether or not there was going to be money for Fayette County Public Schools arts education.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is just part of the broader understanding that if there's not going to be money for educating kids about art, there's not going to be money for educating
mm-hmm.
the broader population about art and trying to maintain its cultural relevance. Whether it is people who are going and trying to sustain its broader,
mm-hmm.
Just keep it alive.
Well, and for your more conservative viewers, I mean, it is an important thing to fund because, for example, what my stepdad is doing, wood fire kilns, I mean, that is a survival skill that, our ancestors had to understand how to make pottery in order for the modern world to get where it is today. I mean, wood-fired pottery was a step in our cultural and civilizational development. Whether here in the United States or whether elsewhere. And I mean, that is a survival skill. Like if you're interested in a, kind of off-grid living, or if, worst case scenario, we have a disaster happen or something like that. And we're, struggling to rebuild society or something. I'm talking about like, say, a solar storm that knocks out our energy infrastructure, right? I mean, like things that could happen. And, those are survival skills that are worth exploring and worth understanding and having people knowledgeable about them.
Yeah. It goes back to the value of trade schools, mm-hmm. too, which, I think that people are starting to become more aware of the value of trade schools and where they do fit into our society. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has to go to college and go into debt. And I think that people are, on both sides of the aisle, and beyond, seeing that value and welcoming it too. I think that without the trade aspect mm-hmm. of our society, we are going to not be able to maintain true autonomy in one aspect or another.
And you and I, are only a few years apart in age, and you probably had the same experience. I mean, you grew up with teachers telling you if you don't go to college, you're going to end up flipping burgers, and with counselors who were showing you graphs about how much people who get college degrees make, and like after 2008, that's not true anymore, brother. No. Like, you've got to have a college degree to get a job at Starbucks. Also, fuck Starbucks. Boycott Starbucks. The DSA and I, as a candidate, support the unionization of all Starbucks stores across the United States.
Starbucks isn't even that good a coffee.
No. Okay, so what it is they have to maintain evenness of quality, so they just end up roasting their beans so they all taste the same.
Yep.
Yeah, it all tastes burnt.
Yep.
It's terrible coffee. The workers should be unionized. Anyway, back to trade school. Like when I was, my senior year talking about, plans for after high school with friends and acquaintances, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to go off to college and do, I don't know what. And a guy that I was talking to was like, yeah, I'm not going to college. I'm going to go to masonry school. I'm going to learn bricklaying, and I'm going to be making $80,000 at age 21.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, did I make him here? No, I didn't. I did not. But like, we grew up in an era where trade school, college just isn't for everyone. Not because you're not intelligent enough to do college, just it's not for everyone.
And I mean, having gone through, and I took 7 years to get my undergrad. Mm-hmm. I wish.
Damn, sir, you must be very smart. You must have done a lot of undergradding.
Sure.
Perry Ritter, the smartest podcaster in Kentucky.
If you want to call it that.
Hell yeah.
college was not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But that was because I was so burnt out with going to class and doing homework and having to go through that rote mechanic of, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to hear a lecture, I'm going to, learn these tools and mechanics and everything, and then I'm going to go home and practice it. When in reality, what I needed to do at that time was gain, and I know that this sounds so tired, but gain real world experience and understand how to make and save money and function as an adult, as opposed to sitting in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'll be very honest, one of my weakest things as an adult is saving money. I still, I still struggle with.
Well,
that.
You have kids.
Well, yeah,
of course you can't save money. You have children.
I cannot save money.
Those little gremlins literally eat cash. They just take it out of your wallet and stuff it in their mouths.
So, and I mean, not to keep bringing everything back to politics, but
I was about to do the same.
We do live in an unfortunate structure too, where and having just done my taxes yesterday too, I looked at the numbers. And we spent just as much on our mortgage last year as we did on childcare.
Damn.
Literally a 1-to-1.
I mean, and
it's,
hey,
it is so unbalanced.
Bringing it back to politics, look at what Zoran Mamdani has done in just a few short months. They've got subsidized childcare now in New York. It would be a little bit more difficult to do here in Lexington because we are not the economic epicenter of the United States. But I mean, there are strides we could make in those
100%.
departments.
100%.
And going back to the trade school thing, another factor of it is that if you do not have a great financial aid package, or if your parents can't afford to pay for your college for you, you're going to have to either take out private loans, which you are going to be screwed on those repayment terms for the next 2 decades or 3 decades. It's basically a mortgage,
if not longer.
Or you have to work to put yourself through school. You can't you can't work to put yourself through school anymore.
No,
you can't. My parents, when they were younger, they were able to work. Listening to my grandpa talking about flipping burgers, making 25 cents an hour as a burger flipper, was able to put himself through college because he was the first person in his family to do so, coming from a hog farm in Iowa. Was able to flip burgers in Minnesota to pay for college. But you can't do that nowadays. No. You can't work 40 hours a week.
What are we doing? What's going on here? Sorry.
It's infuriating. And once again, it goes back to public funding, because we are not putting the same kind of money into our higher education.
So put this into context for people who might not understand it, because we talk a lot about public funding, and we talk a lot about how that or what that we talk a lot about it, but we don't put into context how that is achieved.
Okay.
And I think that when a lot of people hear raising taxes, or they hear the idea of putting money into public services, they get fearful.
That's fair,
right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important to break it down in the most the most simple of terms for people who might not understand it or who have questions about it, so that not necessarily they're put at ease, but to understand how they are or are not affected by what would happen if your policy goals are achieved, if and when you are elected.
So let's start with marginal taxation. A lot of the media and commentary surrounding taxation, the taxation regime we have in the United States, marginal taxation, severely misrepresents what marginal taxation is and how it works. Because the way it works, let's say the breakoff is at $50,000, right? There's a 10% tax on everything under that, and there's a 20% tax on everything over that. I don't know what the actual numbers is. I'm just hypothetically. you are going to get taxed 10% on that first $50,000. And then you are going to get, if you make $50,001, that $1 will be taxed at 20%. That $50,000 in its entirety will not be taxed 20%, just that $1. So that is how marginal taxation works. A lot of people who say that, well, if I make over this amount, I'll end up paying more in taxes, except in very, very rare marginal cases, that is not true for most people.
Right.
The vast majority of people. It is a myth. It is a purposeful myth. It is something that is spread by outlets like Fox News, who bring on commentators to, whinge and moan about.
But then in this day and age, too, CNN is doing the same thing as well, because they are, bought by these same corporate benefactors who are, running and going to run third way candidates that, have more corporate interests than
correct. You're absolutely
somebody
right.
who you who are running on grassroots donations.
For those of you who are not aware of what manufactured consent or managed democracy means, look it up. That's a different conversation for a different day. That would be an in-depth kind of conversation there. But anyway,
this is not the time nor place for it.
Back to taxation. I mean, we're not talking about I make because I do work in the trades. And I am rewarded fairly for it. The company I work for, sure, it's not ideal, but they pay me fairly for what I do, and I'm good at my job, so they pay me well. Mm-hmm. And the kind of taxation I'm talking about, increasing taxes, wouldn't affect me, wouldn't affect you, wouldn't affect folks who are on the earned income tax credit, or even folks who, have a nice little...
Hello.
I'm sorry, brother.
No. Don't worry about it.
That sucks.
Hey, don't worry about it. It is part of the system.
Yeah, it's.
I am
You're going to jump through a lot of hoops, I know.
No. It's okay.
But in even folks who have a nice little suburban home with a 2-car garage and 2 kids or 2.1 kids, whatever the national average is,
I think it's like 2.3 or 4.
Making 6 figures even. I don't think those folks who are still struggling to make ends meet with kids and all that stuff, I don't think they need to be taxed more. I think that we have a lot of people who are spending $6 million on a new yacht. Wait, is it 6 million? I don't even know. It's like 12 million.
But it's still like their second or third,
right? If why do our taxes subsidize private jets and not like a family car? Yeah. Like, what the shit? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taxation on obscene wealth, the kind of wealth that your grandchildren will never need to work a day in their life because they're going to be trust fund babies' wealth. Like, there is no reason why anyone, number one, needs that much money. Like, you don't need that much. You don't. No one needs that much money. The only thing,
especially when it could help,
exactly,
working people.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not super religious myself, but if you're religious, of the Christian persuasion, that is one of the central tenets of Christianity, that it is a sin to hoard wealth to the detriment of your fellow human being. Like, that is a core tenet of Christianity. And, religions are not just like woo-woo belief systems. They are also a way to carry forward lessons from history that we didn't necessarily have a way to remember before writing was invented.
Yeah.
So the whole hey, when you have too many rich people doing too many things and they're oppressing people, that's bad.
Yeah.
It usually leads to revolt and violence, and you should probably avoid that. So we don't have writing, so let's just make it a religious tenet. And if you own too much wealth, you're going to hell. Easy, done. And so that's, seriously, we learned this lesson 3,000 years ago, brother.
Well, we were supposed to.
We were supposed to, yes.
But
now Jesus wants Joel Osteen to have a private jet. Do we have another tasting?
We do, yeah.
Okay,
we do.
So we've got more. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've loved the conversation so far, get ready, because there's more.
Well, we are towards the back end of the episode at this point, but I wanted to bring it back to Lexington.
Mm-hmm.
and products that are made, blended, and bottled.
Sweet.
In Lexington. So let me move these off the table. I'm sorry.
And folks, Mingy goes great with bourbon.
I haven't done that yet.
Beef jerky and bourbon. Hell yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. You're all good. From our friends over at Rare Character, we're actually shifting just a hair, and we're introducing the first rye to the.
I've never heard of these.
So our friend Chad, who is also known as My Daily Bourbon on social media, is their barrel and blending guy. Longtime listeners of the show know. This is their everyday and cocktail rye known as Hearst Knoll. This is the second batch, even though it says batch 1 on the back. 7 years, man. That Ale 8 is doing a number on.
It's like all ginger ales. It's a good way to clear out your sinuses, folks. Ale 8-1. It'll clear out your sinuses. I am not a doctor.
I'm feeling, and he does not play one on TV.
No, I
neither.
do not.
No,
I'm handsome enough to though.
Yeah. Oh. So I was telling my wife last night that I was interviewing you today, and I was saying he's got a great mustache, and. True. I showed her a picture of you, and it was from your St. Patrick's Day post.
Oh, Lord.
And she was like, he's not Irish?
No.
And I was like, I don't think so.
I'm mostly, my heritage is mostly white trash. And I'm very proud of that fact.
It's very funny, actually. But so that's their rye, and then we've got batch 2 of their limited release bourbon. Which is not all Kentucky bourbon. There's some Indiana in here as well, but it was, again, blended and bottled here in Lexington.
Killer.
Too.
I like their bottles.
Yeah.
You know, they're shaped like wine bottles for those of you all who are not seeing this online. Very classy looking.
Yeah.
Love it. So I actually haven't asked. I'm very much a novice when it comes to the finer points of tasting bourbon. Like, what should I, and maybe I should have asked this earlier, but like, what should I, as a novice, what advice would you give? You know, I'm sure you have a lot of people who are very knowledgeable about bourbon on the show, who know what they're doing, know what they're looking for, know what they're trying to taste, knowing what hints or flavors or whatever they're trying to detect. What would you give? What advice would you give to, hey, I'm playing interviewer, everyone. That's fun. What advice would you give to novice, not even bourbon aficionados, but like novice people who are just out at a bar and are tasting a new bourbon for the first time, maybe because it's on special or because the bartender recommends it? Like, what should the novice be looking for as far as taste and notes and ideas and whatever?
So the older that I have gotten, and the more that I have gotten into my bourbon journey, the more that I have focused on experience. So less of like, and it's not to say that I don't focus on tasting notes when I'm doing the podcast. Because like when I do a review, I sit down and I pick out like, you know, oh, it's got like creme brulee notes, or
you do
there's
the expert
like
level analysis.
Yeah, exactly. But like I am so much more about like, does this feel like there is a full flavor experience on the palate? Does it last for a long time once I've actually finished tasting it? Does it make me want to go back for another sip? And so like, you know, that is dependent sometimes on the proof. That's dependent sometimes on the age. That is not always, you know, a 1-to-1 with the price. Like, you know, this benchmark single barrel that we had at 95 proof, which I really, really enjoy.
It was lovely, yeah.
And again, around $20. That is, of course, also, you know, subjective to how people, what people's palates have developed into as well. It really just depends on what your experience level can be, or what it has been from time to time. So in my case, like, I have tasted just about everything under the sun. Like,
I don't know if I would admit that in public.
Whiskey wise.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I should be clear.
You should specify,
I
sir.
always say, like, I'll try anything once.
Oh, I will too.
But what I mean is, like,
I lived in Indonesia, brother.
Yeah.
I will try anything.
But I mean,
once.
within reason, like, not anything that's gonna
screw that.
make me
Within reason.
Yeah, I mean. Anyway, I don't mean anything that's gonna, like, get me in, high security prison.
Yeah, I mean, and like, you can't eat concrete. That's physically impossible.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, within reason.
Okay.
Like, I will try absurd foods. I will drink the most, like, exotic liquor or beer. Because, like, if I'm in a country, like, where that is their cultural heritage, or, like, if they are, like, it is culturally significant, and it would be shameful for us to present to you this dish and you don't try it, even if it is, like, monkey brains. I would be like, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah,
like, I have to eat this, or I have to drink,
one of the
liquor,
pig poop. Ooh, no.
I'm just come on.
Okay,
like,
no,
but you understand what I mean?
Yes, I do. Okay, so just to put this in perspective, my first week in Indonesia,
pig poop liquor.
My first week in Indonesia, we were in this city called Malang, and we went to a restaurant that was serving cobra. Which, snakes and lizards, alligators, like, solid meats, tasty.
Yeah.
Kind of tastes like chicken, like everything else does.
100%.
But one thing they did, it was a tradition in the area. You drank the cobra blood mixed with vodka, including the heart and gizzard in the shot, and you took it as a shot. And
all right,
ladies and gentlemen, your Indonesian lesson of the day: kekuatan. For strength, for power. Kuat means strong. So I took a shot.
Means for kuatan.
No, it's. I don't have time to get into linguistics.
That's
sorry.
fine. No. I'm just trying. Like, linguistics fascinate me to no end.
It's declension bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into declensions.
Yeah.
So
I'm declension right now.
Declension that booty. Yeah, but it's take a shot of cobra blood. It's just kind of a cultural experience, and it didn't taste horrible. It just didn't taste great.
But it is what it is. Like, you have to try it.
You have to be adventurous.
Yeah.
And that is why, getting back to our previous conversation about how terrible it is dating in your 30s, I don't date picky eaters. I don't like. My brother was married to a picky eater for a little while, and he was cooking burgers and chicken nuggets and dogs, and every once in a while he wanted some beef stroganoff or something like that. You know, and like, I am too adventurous of a cook and too adventurous of a eater to like be with a picky eater.
Like, when my wife and I when we first started dating.
Oh, cheers!
She was like, "Oh, cheers." I think you have the bourbon first.
This is the
the bourbon.
Rare character limited release.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when your wife and you first got married?
When we first started dating.
Okay.
She had traveled abroad more than I had, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll eat all type of bugs or whatever," and I was like, I don't know if I would do that. But the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, put it down in front of me. Like, I will literally try whatever food.
Well, I mean, if Fox News is right, then we're going to be eating crickets here soon.
We're developing now.
Don't get me wrong. I have had fried crickets before. Delicious.
I don't mind crickets.
They're crunchy. They taste like popcorn. If they're well seasoned, solid. Why not? Fun little snack.
It's so funny because it's like, and who is threatening nuclear holocaust right now?
Yeah, right. And they're healthier for you than Doritos. I'll tell you that much.
Try the rye next. I'm curious. So again, 101 proof, 7 years old.
Oh.
I hear a cat.
Yeah.
There's a cat scratching.
He wants to get out of the bedroom. Yeah, he'll come in. I closed the door so that he wouldn't harass you. I mean, like he will say things that will get you canceled, and I don't want that on the podcast. Like he's got a foul mouth.
That's fair.
He's old. He's heard every swear in the book.
I don't want to hear what he thinks about indigenous people.
You don't want to, sir.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, you don't want to.
Well, on that note, let's move into one of our back half of the episode segments, High Proof Hot Takes, where we rant about things that have been bothering us over the past week or so that we just need to get off of our chests. Herbert, do you have any high proof hot takes this week?
Dude, I was a mess on Tuesday.
I was
Let
too.
Me tell you, like,
I
was watching that cocktail. Like I had to. I made an appearance at the Letters Carriers Union. And I tried to do my best to, and I feel terrible because I wasn't at my best when I was speaking with them. But, like, I was just keeping my eye on the clock till 8 p.m. Because that was supposedly the deadline.
And it hit 7:30, and we got, like, or maybe it was, like, 7 o'clock. I don't remember for sure. And we got the New York Times reporting that they had agreed to a 2-week ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had agreed, quote unquote.
Right. But, I mean, at that point, it was that they had agreed, quote unquote, to a 2-week ceasefire, which at that point was enough to assuage my fears that we were going to get into mutually assured destruction.
Bro, no, I was still waiting because Trump was sundowning, man. You can't tell what he's going to be doing. No, I was just a hot mess. I mean, I was literally kind of having a panic attack because, sure,
all day.
Your reasonable pundits were saying, well, there's no way Trump is going to actually do this. Playing Nixon's books, the Madman Theory, where you can't tell what he's going to do and what he's not going to do. But the truth of the fact of the matter is that Trump and his Christian nationalist zealots that he's got running the Pentagon right now, Pete Hegseth and his ilk, they are fighting a holy war in there, as they call it. I mean, even Barry Goldwater, for the record, fuck Barry Goldwater, but even fucking Goldwater said you can't work with these pastors who are trying to worm their way into the Republican Party because government, even Barry Goldwater said this. I can't stress this enough, how ashamed I am to be touting Barry Goldwater here. Said you can't negotiate with God. Government requires negotiation. It requires, meeting halfway, and you cannot negotiate with these pastors. And that's who's running the show now.
I don't know when separation of church and state failed so miserably.
Rush Limbaugh. I blame Rush Limbaugh. No, seriously. So going back to our earlier conversation was it
what's his name? The mega church pastor from the 60s.
Oh, and now his son is doing the things.
Billy Graham.
I
almost said Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, Lindsey, same difference. Well, they have different ladybugs. Don't look that up. Don't look that up. Do not look up ladybugs, Lindsey Graham.
I know too much about things.
Shush. Let us not damage our listeners.
Let us not speak.
So, I mean, like, going back to the whole, the right, the conservative movement, the moneyed interests have had a long time to make gains above and beyond, what the left can make policy-wise and, public talking points-wise. The whole... My brain just stopped working. Where was I going with this?
Church and state,
right. Rush Limbaugh. And I remember listening to Rush Limbaugh in my grandpa's truck back when I was a kid. Rush Limbaugh was normalizing the idea that church and state separation was silly back in the 80s, back in the 90s. You know, and that is what it comes down to is the normalization, like even going the whole we're a republic, not a democracy idea. That's a Rush Limbaugh thing too.
Yeah.
And I mean, him and other folks like him were normalizing the ideas that, I mean, he was calling Democrats terrorists and traitors and calling for their deaths on the radio in the 90s.
Well, even then, they were still the centrist party.
Right.
During that period. I mean, but Bill Clinton was run as a third-way candidate.
There's always been that undercurrent. So,
anyway.
I mean,
Tuesday was a very stressful day.
Yes, Tuesday was a very stressful day. My apologies to the Letter Carriers Union. I was not on point. But they seem to like me, which is good. I've actually already gotten endorsements from LIUNA, the local laborers 189.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, they're a killer group. They allow us to use their union hall for the DSA to meet in free of charge. And I hope, do our best. Jeremy, if you're listening, if we have left the union hall in disarray, please let us know so we can rectify that. But seriously, and that's what it comes back to. We are a community of people.
Yeah.
And it is labor unions, it is
trade
groups,
unionists,
it is trade unionists, and it is tenants unions. You know, we need to be all building power together to make Lexington, Kentucky, and the nation a better place.
Yeah.
And that's one of my main goals with my candidacy and my hopefully after being elected, is to be able to be a way to bridge those gaps between different groups to say, hey, you all are trying to do the same thing. Why don't you work together and pool resources?
Yeah. Tips and bits, segment of the show where we have things we want to recommend that we've been watching, reading, listening to, enjoying over the past week that we also think will elevate your life.
I don't know if elevate is the right word to use.
Well, maybe just enlighten?
No, not also.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
you have something that's gonna encourage people to.
No.
Okay.
So like I'm a nerd. So
this is different.
one of the The Boys is having a new season come out soon, or they may have already released episodes.
I think it's started already.
Yeah. But I've been watching Invincible. Which it's a kind of a take on the hero capes and powers kind of thing. It shows you the realistic fallout of what happens when aliens invade and tear down a bunch of buildings, and also your hero gets blasted through a train station.
Right.
I've been really enjoying the new season. The animation is great. I've got a pretty strong stomach, referring back to our conversation about strong spices and heat. But the episode 5 of this new season
I heard it's supposed to be the most brutal.
It is so brutal, brother.
Ooh,
it turned my stuff.
That's crazy.
It is animated. Too. One of the things I appreciate about animation is that you can do things with animation that you can't do in live action.
Sure. Yeah.
And you allow the users or the viewer's imagination to fill in the gaps.
Right.
It was so brutal that even I had to pause and take a breath at some point.
Interesting.
It's not for everyone. If you like The Boys, you'll like Invincible. But otherwise, Citations Needed is a podcast.
I don't think I know what it is.
So they are their tagline is literally a podcast about media, power, and the politics of bullshit.
Nice.
They are a media analysis podcast. They have a great episode this week on public-private partnerships and how our public infrastructure is being privatized.
Yeah.
That's a solid one. And other things that have made me happy this week is petting my cats.
There you go.
Plugging my cats, Lola and Ollie. Ollie is old and orange. Lola is pretty and dumb.
All of my pets, I feel like, are dumb. I love them to death, but they are all except for my oldest one, which is a Chihuahua Shih Tzu mix. She's too smart for everything.
She's Chihuahua Shih Tzu mix.
Yeah.
A Shitwawa?
I guess. Shih Tzu?
Shih Tzu,
I haven't heard it.
I don't know.
I think Chihuahua is the best way
Chihuahua
to describe
sounds more
her.
fun, yeah.
Longtime listeners of the show know Marie because she's shown up for many, many years. But I'll show you a picture of her later. I started the newest season of Daredevil Born Again, which has been really good so far.
I enjoyed the original series. Is the Disney Plus version very...
It is... so season 1 was a little rocky. I'll be honest.
Okay.
It had its moments, but it wound up landing pretty well.
Cool.
I liked it overall. Season 2, off to a phenomenal start.
Oh,
I'm
good.
about halfway through episode 2. Love it so far. I don't know if you heard this a couple weeks ago, but I just started playing the Resident Evil games from the very beginning.
Oh, wow. That is a journey, brother.
Yeah. And I finished Resident Evil 1. It was the HD remake that they put on whatever.
Yeah, the remake, yeah.
But it got ported to the Switch, which is my main gaming console.
Killer.
And
I'm a PC gamer.
So I discovered fairly recently that my Mac handles PC gaming.
Really?
Yeah.
They used to not be able to do that.
No, this one is.
You used to have to install Wine and port shit over. Yeah.
No, I mean I have to use a specific software so that I can access PC games, but it does handle PC gaming. But I still use my Switch as my main thing, or the Switch 2, whatever. But I just started RE2 the other day.
So I love video games,
so
but I can't do first-person shooters. I mean, I love games like Pathologic that are very, very high-stress games, but first-person shooters just stress me out for some reason.
Yeah, I mean...
I play video games to relax, not have fear that I'm going to get sniped.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do play plenty of relaxing video games, too. I am primarily what I would call a Nintendo gamer.
Ah, right on. I still have a 64 back there if you want to play some Smash later.
That's so fun. Don't tempt me with a good time.
I got GoldenEye. He's got GoldenEye.
That is that's my bread and butter. But with the newest Resident Evil coming out, I was I saw a bunch of people streaming it, and I was I think I really want to get into this series from the start. And I mean, I did, and I really, really love Resident Evil 2. I don't even know how far I am, progressively into it.
That's the fun.
But yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to not get through it, but find my way through the series. And I mean, there are 8 mainline games.
Can I bring up a gripe about the modern age as a gamer?
Yeah.
I hate how accessible spoilers are. Just every video game has a wiki, and it is so easy and so tempting just to be able to go on the internet and be I'm having trouble with this spot.
I mean, there have been a couple of times where I was I don't know what to do. I just need one hint to push me over the edge.
But
I'm not relying on a walkthrough or anything. I just needed to know
I just need to know one thing.
What switches do I hit so that a door will open? Because otherwise I'm going to be banging my head against the wall.
For me, it's okay, so what recipe do I need to use to make the thing to get me to the next level? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just need to know one discrete thing, but then you look for that thing, and then you're going to find information on 5 other things that you don't need to know that are just complete
exactly
spoilers,
a
pain in the butt.
I open the wiki for the one switch, and then I close it and I just move on with the rest of my day.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, but I just want to. I mean, also because a lot of these games that I'm especially the Resident Evil games, they're all the older ones are now 15 to 20 years old.
Yeah.
So,
brother, I still play Morrowind to this day. You don't need to.
My point is just that I'm not playing games that I need to be handheld through. That being said, though, I mean, even Zelda games from the 80s and 90s, there are tough points.
Yeah,
where
there
I was
are.
like, I got to have a little bit of help.
Hey, you got a little gnat there, brother.
Yeah, it's I don't know what happened. I probably brought it in. I'm sorry.
No, it's from somewhere. I don't know.
Herbert, this has been a lot of fun, man.
It definitely has, brother.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I hope that
hey man, thanks for coming over to my place.
Yeah,
that
thanks for having me. Yeah. I hope that people listen to our conversation with an open mind as well too. I was not trying to bring anybody over to being a card carrying DSA member either. It was about opening up the conversation to understanding what your campaign looked like.
Did we talk? We didn't talk about my campaign that much. Like, let's be honest, which is cool.
Well, sure. I mean, like, it was also about like trying to, get you out there as, a person. In this campaign. But regardless, I think it's important just to humanize you in some ways and not just have you out there.
I assure your listeners that I am human. I am not a being from the Alpha Centauri system, nor a cyborg from the future. I am a human being with all my organs intact. Both livers, they're both there.
But okay. Never mind. I was going to make a side like Doctor Who joke, and I couldn't find a way into it. But but also like, I mean, this is not inherently like a political show. Like I never intend for it to be. But I mean, we do live in an increasingly political world where people
politics are personal. Everything's political, man.
Exactly. Like, I mean, even bourbon these days is just.
I mean, even Minky beef jerky is political. They got Bible verses on the back of the box.
Do they really?
Yes. Oh, wait, you haven't seen that yet? Where is it? Oh, they used to.
Did they take it off?
Yeah, they must have. They used to have like a if you go to like the ones you get in the gas stations, they still have the Bible verse.
But I did get that in the gas station.
Oh, they must have changed their they used to have a Bible verse on like cited on the back, like where this whole text about like who we are and whatever, they used to have a Bible verse. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's another reason I'm not a big fan of theirs. Fucking Christian nationalist ass bullshit.
Still eating it. Anyway.
I know. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. That is not the appropriate context in which to use that phrase, by the way.
Yeah, fair enough. You are, Oh, well. Anyway. Where can people... What I was going to say, though, is that like this is not an inherently political podcast. It's never actually going to be. But I mean,
I hope we had enough fun that your listeners get a little bit of that joy from us.
I think we did, and I mean, it was still centered around like tastings of bourbon and talking about each individual.
It was a fun conversation. Yeah,
absolutely. Where can people find you on social media? Find out more about your campaign, how they can support you as well.
So all of my social media is Herbert4Lex, the number 4, Herbert4Lex. On Instagram, on Facebook. My website is Herbert4Lex.com. You can email me at Herbert4CityCouncil@gmail.com if you have any questions. And we are a grassroots campaign. We meet every Sunday for canvassing. So if you are wanting to get out and get involved and just like do something, do anything, if you don't know what else to do, I mean, because this is where I was a few years ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to get out. I wanted to do something. I didn't know what to do. And I wanted to have that, a candidate, a political party, someone say, here's how you get involved. Right now, we're canvassing the first district, and this will change later if you're listening to this down the road. Please go to my campaign, sign up for the newsletter. But right now, we're meeting in Duncan Park every Sunday at noon. If you don't have anything to do, show up. We will show you how to use the app.
Yeah.
We will give you a list of doors to knock. We will give you a script and tell you what to say. We'll run through it with you a couple of times. We'll talk to you about the ins and outs. And we'll train you to knock doors, like Duncan Park at noon on Sundays. Yes, my cat is. He was napping peacefully at 2 hours. What time is it? Oh Lord,
it's almost 2:00.
Yeah, we've been at it for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, Herbert4Lex.com. Herbert4Lex is all my social media. If you want to email me, if you want to donate, yeah, I'd love anyone who wants to come and participate. And we'll have phone banking options open soon.
There we go.
Can I actually compliment you real quick?
Sure.
One thing, I did listen to a few episodes to kind of get a feel for what your podcast was about.
Yeah.
And one thing I really, really appreciate, just like with the benchmark earlier.
Yeah.
Like, you are a great bourbon taster, and you're not like, oh, Pappy Van Winkle or some shit. You're like, hey, here is an affordable option that tastes good, that, like, if I had guests over at my house, I would feel very proud about serving them a $25 bottle.
That's
of
awesome. I appreciate that.
And like, so that's a big thing. I appreciated that, and that's part of why I was like, yeah, let's do this podcast, because you were talking about affordable, accessible options for good taste.
Well, I've always tried to lean into, because I mean, as somebody who, talked about earlier, does get the earned income tax credit too. I understand it. Like, I'm not going out and I'm not buying the most expensive bottles.
No, I listened to an episode where one of your co-hosts was bragging about, yo, I went into this liquor store and found this like 1990 something bottle of bourbon for $20, and let me tell you, brother, it is amazing. And it's like, who knows this?
But that's what I lean into, though, is like, it is important to find like the value stuff on the shelf. Like,
absolutely.
I'm not taking, sponsorships. I'm not taking, like, we have a very modest Patreon support, very, modest.
Where can people go to find out about your Patreon?
Well, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast, support it for as little as $1 a month. From $5 and up, you get bonus content every single week. I'm recording the stuff with Kyle for Patreon tomorrow night after Herbert and I are recording on Saturday. So Sunday night is when Kyle and I are doing stuff. So I don't even know what that's going to look like next week. But support every single month. There's bonus content every single week.
You're going to be able to hear me cursing on the bonus content.
Well, I mean, you're going to hear plenty of cursing from Herbert too on the main episode as well.
I work in the skilled trades. They curse.
I mean, what are you going to do, man? Like, Abdul El Sayed is going on, everything, and he's swearing too. Like, it's just, people are.
I mean, when you've got Hassan Piker supporting you, what else do you have to lose?
The most vulgar streamer. But you can find all of the other things for the podcast, links and whatnot, below in the description for how to support, how to follow, and whatnot. You all already know it.
Also, I'm going to apologize in advance, because you're probably going to hear some weird sounds coming from my end of the mic, and it's because my mustache hairs are getting caught in the wires because I'm so fucking close to this thing. Like, I've felt it like a couple of times, just like rubbing up against the mic there.
It's fine. It'll be all right. Herbert, again, thank you so much, brother.
Hey, Perry, thank you for having me on, sir.
I will see you next week. But until then, I'm Perry.
And I'm Herbert.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast.